Radio Newark.
Radio Newark weather with Holden's of Newark.
Partly cloudy with some sunshine, 10 degrees. Later on tonight, chance of rains, lows of 6 degrees until dawn. Thank you.
Radio Newark weather with Holden's of Newark. Furniture, kitchens and accessories for all the family. Find us at Astor Top Car Park, Beaumont Cross, Newark.
Hi, we are Barnby Road Radio Club and our names are Mattas,
Jess,
Caitlin,
Lola,
Jamie
and Libby.
Thank you for joining us on our live show, Plastic Planet. This show, Plastic Planet, is about us looking at ways we use plastic and question whether we should actually be using them at all. Coming up, we'll be talking to our MP, Rob Jenrick. We'll also be finding out how you can build a greenhouse out of recycled plastic. I will speak to a journalist who travels the world writing about the effects of plastic on the wildlife. Who came up with the idea?
Well, Mr. Barnett came up with the idea and we're setting up a chart to see who collected the most bottles.
So what do you think is interesting about these bottles? Because I've heard a lot about the chart and that year 3 have won so far, but how are year 6s?
Well, year 6s were doing great, but then we went down because year 3 had the most bottles.
So, who is making the greenhouse?
The greenhouse is going to be made by a local company identified by the Rotary Club, who are going to bring in some volunteers to build the greenhouse.
So what difference do you think the greenhouse will make to the school, Jaden?
Well, I think that it would be good because we can, instead of buying the food for school dinners, then they can plant like the fruit there.
So, Finn, did it take a long time counting all the bottles?
Well, it did sometimes, but mostly when the classes didn't bring much in it, we didn't have to count that much.
Are you pleased about this idea? Because I think that it's a very good idea to build a greenhouse out of bottles. 1, it's a good recycling plant, and 2, it's a good competition.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good thing for the environment, and it's also, like you said, the recycling. We can build bottles to make a greenhouse.
The school garden's also not been used for a few years, so getting a greenhouse is really going to enable us to grow a lot more stuff across the school and extend the growing period so we can grow lots of things like tomatoes and peppers and chilies that we might not be able to grow otherwise. It'll be really exciting in the summertime when we've got it full of stuff growing.
So I've just been thinking, how many bottles have you collected in total?
We've collected more than 1,300 and we've got more than we actually need.
Yeah, I noticed on the chart that you had a big yellow star with a bottle on saying that the target was 1,300 bottles, which is a big amount for the school to collect. And I just think that's amazing because those 1,300 bottles, they could have gone into the sea and injured or killed an animal.
That's true, Caitlin. We've been really overwhelmed with support from all the adults and children who've collected all the bottles. 1,300 bottles in just 3 or 4 weeks that otherwise would have gone into the sea or to the rubbish dump. So it's done something really good for the environment.
I think all of you are amazing for doing this. Yeah, I just think that it's an amazing idea because, again, all of those bottles, they could have just been chucked away and blown away or just had no use. And it's just saving loads of money for the school, because we've been wanting a greenhouse for years. So people bringing in bottles for free is a win-win. School wins for a greenhouse and saving money on the fruit and veg as well. And then it's also helping the environment. So why not do it? What is your favourite part about being in the bottle team?
Basically, collecting bottles.
It's going to be really good because it's just a fantastic idea. I don't know how you came up with it, Mr. Barnett, but literally it's going to be good for the children to experience homegrown food, and again it's just a save of money and environment.
Yeah. Well, Miss Greeley and I have been working hard to get the garden sort of rejuvenated. So we did a big dig a few months ago, and that's going to get going in the springtime. We'll get planted up, and then it just came up in the news. Really, there was a lot in the news recently. I know Theresa May's trying to introduce some new laws to reduce plastic waste and introduce new laws about what companies should do and how they should be able to recycle them and things like that. Something that I feel we all really need to be taking seriously. And then when Mr. Barker from the Rotary Club approached me and said, look, was I interested in getting involved in it? Definitely, that's something we should do in school.
I think all of you are amazing, and I think this will be treasured at Barnby Road for quite a long time.
We just have to say a big thank you for you coming in, and also for the work that you've done to make this greenhouse. So do you have anything to say?
I think it's we've really enjoyed it, helping all the environment, doing great stuff for the world, and doing it around the school. So I've really enjoyed being part of this, and I think this is going to go quite a long time for the school.
Thank you.
Bottle team, it's just been amazing to have you here.
At Pratt and Gelsthorpe, Newark. Radio Newark Travel News with Chandler's Sangyong in Grantham and Horncastle.
Hi, I'm Jess. Busy on the A46 from Cattle Market through to Farndon and the A1 junction. Don't forget, we have the temporary one-way system in place on Castlegate. Very slow traffic there too. Stop-start near to the Morrison's roundabout. A1 is moving well though. If you spot something and it's safe to call, please give us a ring on 01666 678 033.
Radio Newark Travel News with Chandler's Sangyong. Discover the Sangyong Corando, Caravan and Motorhome Club's Tow Car of the Year in the under £24,000 category.
So that was Shawn Mendes singing Stitches. Hi, I'm Caitlin. Jess and I interviewed John Barker, who's part of the Newark Rotary Club. He and his construction team built our eco-friendly bottle greenhouse, which you may have heard about. Here I am talking to him right at the site of the building.
Here we have John Barker from the Rotary Club of Newark Castle. So they are building the new bottle greenhouse that we have the interview for, and we're just going to ask him a couple of questions. So what do you think to this idea, John?
Well, I think it's a brilliant idea, and it provides the school with a completely new learning experience, and it helps to satisfy a number of objectives, really, because it helps to teach the children about environmental issues, and also provides them with an opportunity to learn how to grow and plant and grow. But we're also helping to reduce the amount of plastic waste, because we've got 1,300 bottles that the huge good children have collected to be able to make the greenhouse.
Yeah, we've already interviewed the bottle team, which had a big part in collecting up the bottles and counting them all, and also storing them, which was a tricky job because we couldn't fit them anywhere. So, Jess, what would you like to ask?
How long will it take to build the bottle greenhouse then?
We should complete it all within the one day. So between 9 o'clock and 3:30, 4 o'clock today, it should be finished.
Yeah, it's looking good so far. You've got the roof pretty much done, the two sloped sides, and then you're starting to do the bottom walls on the sides as well. It's looking good, and I can't wait for it to be finished, because we're going to grow flowers, fruit and veg, and it's just going to be a really good provision for the school. How do you think it's going so far?
Well, we're really delighted because we're making good progress. The company, we try to involve local companies when we build these greenhouses, and we've built 8 so far. You're the first one this year, but we are working with Newark and Sherwood Homes today, who have been good enough to supply us with some of their staff members to come and help build it. And a company called Viola Waste Management have actually funded most of the cost of the greenhouse. So it's working well with local companies, and so it's going, we're delighted about that, and we should finish it about 4 o'clock today.
Yeah, it's a good save of money as well, because we don't have to buy all of the glass panes or anything for a greenhouse. We just have to use the recyclable bottles, so it's a win for the school and for money for the school as well, because it saves a lot of money and for the planet.
That sounds like a great idea, John. The Rotary Club has been a big help, and I hope our school benefits from this. And up next is Ellie Goulding.
Some of the students at Barnby Road have been down Clay Lane litter picking, and they were very surprised to find out how much litter there actually was out there. Here they are now chatting to us about how it went.
Okay, hello. We're here with the litter picking group. So, what are your names?
My name is Tabitha.
My name's Seren.
My name's Caden.
Oh, okay. My name's Libby. And I'm here with my friend Jamie. And we're going to be asking you some questions. The first question I want to ask you, this one's for Tabby.
Yeah.
Tabitha, how much rubbish did you find?
Well, 4 bags of the recyclable ones.
Oh, okay. So, I'm going to pass you on to Jamie and he'll ask you some questions.
Okay, Sarah, what's your favourite part about litter picking?
That we all got together and just helped the environment.
Okay, Caden, what was the kind of litter you picked up most? Was it like most plastic, paper bags?
Cans.
What kind of cans?
Beer cans.
Oh, okay. So, I'm going to pass you on to Jamie again.
How much litter did you pick up?
4 of the plastic bags.
That's a lot. I've got another question. How long did you, spend litter picking, Caden? How long would you say?
1 hour.
Was it like a hot day, Sarah?
It was.
So you all had to wrap up. So, okay, we've got more questions for you.
What do you think happened? Do you think anybody saw you doing the litter picking and then wanted to do more litter picking after you'd done it?
Well, some people just kind of walked by and then didn't really pay much attention. That was doing litter picking.
Didn't even give you a well done?
Well, there was this man and his wife who came past and said, well done, you're really helping the environment.
So, how do you think that litter picking can help the environment?
Well, if everybody did it, then there might not be as much litter, and then the animals won't get extinct.
Yeah, because I've heard that litter can really hurt the animals. Do you know what kind of litter can really hurt the animals?
Well, small bits of plastic, like the ones what hold beer cans.
Could get into their skin or fur, and it could really hurt them. So thank you all for coming, and we've loved interviewing you today.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys, you have helped our environment by doing what you have done, and hopefully you will inspire others to do the same, and you have helped the animals massively. I'm Lola, and next is Finesse by Bruno Mars.
Hello, my name is Jamie. Earlier today we chatted to a journalist named Laura Hampton. She has travelled around the world covering the stories of use of plastic.
What do you think we could do to prevent litter on the streets and in the ocean?
So I think it's really about how we actually purchase in our daily life. So, for example, if we stop buying so much plastic in the first place, then the companies that create the plastic will suddenly realise that the customers don't want it, so they'll find different ways of producing it. So what we can do personally, I think, is actually look at how we consume ourselves. So for me, it's things like using or refusing plastic straws. You can carry your own shopping bag. You can carry a reusable water bottle. Take your own kind of cup. So if you see mum and dad going for a coffee cup, a takeaway coffee, maybe encourage them to buy their own cup that they can use again and again and again. Taking your lunch in reusable containers, so not buying it in the supermarket and using that single-use plastic, which you then throw in the bin. Saying no to plastic straws, as I say, but also plastic cutlery, plastic cups, not using those. You know, if you go to the supermarket, don't put your vegetables in a little plastic bag. Using leftovers, putting your leftovers in a glass jar rather than plastic containers. You know, if you wash your hands with soap in the bathroom, encouraging mum and dad to just buy the soap rather than the plastic containers that dispense it. Using bamboo toothbrushes rather than plastic ones. So yeah, there's lots of things that you can actually do to reduce the amount of plastic you use in the first place, and I think that's really the big thing there is just reuse, refuse and recycle.
So do you think all plastic is bad?
No, so, it's used for a few minutes but lasts for hundreds of years. So that's really, in my opinion, that's the bad plastic. Whereas, let's also remember that, some plastic is fantastic. The plastic helps space rockets go into the atmosphere. Not all plastic is bad, but what is bad, in my opinion, is the stuff that only gets used once. And that's 40% of all global plastic is only used once every year.
So at school we are doing a bottle greenhouse. Do you think that reusing other plastics like a bottle greenhouse is useful?
I do, yes, absolutely. I think, there are some myths that, for example, if you reuse a plastic bottle and then you leave the water in that plastic bottle in a car and it heats up, there are a few myths going around that's not very good for you. But actually, provided that you clean the plastic properly and that kind of creatures and horrible kind of germs don't begin to grow, you can use these things again and again and again. But I think what's important is trying to, because it will break down. If it's designed to be used only once, then it's not going to last as long as something that is designed to last a lot longer. So it's great that you're reusing those plastic bottles for a greenhouse, but I would strongly encourage you all to start thinking about trying to use plastic in your life that is designed to last a lot longer.
So I've heard that you've travelled around the world. So where was your favourite place and why?
So there's a place in Antarctica. It's an island just off Antarctica and it's called South Georgia. And I don't know if you guys have heard of the explorer Ernest Shackleton, but he had a ship called the Endeavour and it got caught in the ice when he was trying to become the first person to sail to the North Pole, and he ended up sailing a small boat at 800 nautical miles across the ocean to a place called South Georgia after he left his broken up ship in the ice in the South Pole with all of his men marooned on a big iceberg, and he ended up in this amazing island called South Georgia, and I've been lucky enough to go there several times, and it's got one of the highest concentrations of marine life anywhere in the world, everything from huge numbers of emperor penguins to massive flubbering seals to albatross, and the marine life there is just incredible. I've seen whales, I've seen orca, that's killer whales. So that's really my favourite place because it's so far removed from humans. But even there, I saw pieces of plastic on the beach. So the fact that you guys are aware of the problem, it makes my heart burst with joy because it's such an important thing. These beautiful, beautiful animals desperately need looking after, and it's really lovely to hear that you guys care.
So back to the coffee cups and the greenhouse. We have been wanting a greenhouse for a couple of years now, and then Mr. Barnett, my class teacher, he thought of an idea of gathering loads of bottles, and so far we've gathered 1,300 bottles to build the greenhouse, and then we're going to build lots of vegetables for the school.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, it's really important, in my opinion, to actually have to kind of encourage kind of growing our own food, buying things locally, because again, the plastic, a lot of plastic is used to protect fruit and vegetables that are flown a long way around the world. So the fact that you're actually growing your own vegetables means that you're not relying on plastic anyway. So it's a wonderful idea. Well done. Great news.
So, from everywhere that you've been, do you have a favourite animal?
Do I have? Yes. My favourite animal is actually an orca, because I've just recently sailed from across the Atlantic actually, and just as I was leaving some of the islands off Spain, I saw a family of 7 killer whales, and they were riding in our bow wave for about 15 minutes. There was one baby one and a great big daddy one and a few others as well, and it was just incredible. It's one of the best experiences of my life. So yeah, I would definitely say killer whales.
Well, thank you for speaking to us, and we will take some of your advice, and make sure that we do everything.
Well done. I mean, if you do want to find out any more information, there's some really good websites out there. One of them is called www.lessplastic.co.uk. And also, if you guys have a smartphone or your parents have a smartphone, there's lots of apps that you can use. One is called My Plastic Footprint, which is really good. But yeah, have a look on the I can send you some websites if you want to have a look. But go on to the United Nations, and I think they're looking for young people to kind of lead the way. So you could definitely get involved if you want to learn more through them too.
I'm Mattas, and did you know that we throw away enough plastic every year to circle the Earth 4 times? Now, to finish the show, we have Robert Jenrick, RMP, talking about plastic and cutting down on it. So here we are.
Hi there, this is Rob Jenrick. I'm the Member of Parliament for Newark, and I'm absolutely delighted to be speaking on Plastic Planet. Thank you to everybody at Barnby Road for inviting me on the programme. And this is a really appropriate week because I've just been working down here in Westminster on a new programme that the government's initiating to cut down on the amount of plastic that we all use in our daily lives. And I've been taking the initiative myself by trying to stop using so many plastic coffee cups and takeaway boxes. And I'm hoping that more people will do the same, because the statistics that we've seen are really terrible. In my own office at the Treasury, which is the government department that manages all the money in Westminster, people use 600,000 coffee cups every year. And all of those obviously get thrown away and put into landfill sites, some of like the ones that we have near us. And it takes almost 500 years for a plastic bottle or coffee cup, or many of the other products that we use around us, like nappies and straws and aluminium cans, to biodegrade and to go back into the environment. So I'm certainly going to be trying to change my ways in the next few months, and I'm hoping that more people in our own area, in Newark and Nottinghamshire, can find ways to do the same, so that we can cut down on the amount of single-use plastics that we use and make a real difference to our local environment.
That was Robert Jenrick, RMP, with an interesting piece about plastic.
So that was our show, Plastic Planet, live on the air. The crew behind all of this are Livy, Jamie, Lola, Jess, Mattas and me, Caitlin. Thank you for listening. We hope you have learned something about how badly plastics are affecting our world every day and what changes you could make. We hope that you all have a happy Easter and listen out for our next show.